good afternoon to all. I, Smriti Bhardwaj, Senior Editor at PharmaShots, welcomes you all to the pre-conference interviews for ISPE Singapore. Today, we have with us Benjamin Sauer, APAC Lean Academy Lead, AstraZeneca Australia, to share some insights from the upcoming conference. So Ben, how are you doing?
Yeah, great, thanks. Thanks for the invitation.
Okay, so let's start the interview. To begin with, could you please tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. As you mentioned, I work for AstraZeneca. I'm the Lean Academy lead at AstraZeneca for the Asia-Pac region. So what we really do there is we sort of do experiential and immersive learning across the region. There's actually 4 academies in AstraZeneca who do the same sort of work. And we run programs such as Lean Leadership, Human and Organizational Performance, TPM Academy, different sort of strategic programs, strategy deployment, digital transformation sort of things. Really, we're a learning function, but still very connected with the business. And a lot of it really comes around leadership, change leadership, and includes things such as critical thinking, which is the topic that I'm presenting at the conference. So that's what I do now. But I've been in the pharmaceutical industry for about 20 years. I started in R&D. My background is I've got a PhD in organic chemistry. I came from a drug discovery background. I worked in research for my first few years in industry, transitioned over into manufacturing, and that's where I really, I guess, hit my my straps, or where I really enjoyed working. I worked in technical roles to start with, given my background, like process engineering, validation, project management. Moved into operations management roles, and now I find myself as a leadership coach, which is definitely interesting for me, but it's something that I really enjoy doing. I've always enjoyed learning, and now I get to share my learnings, which is great.
Well, that's quite impressive to hear. So moving ahead, so considering your experience, what are some of the key topics or themes that you will be covering in the upcoming conference?
Yeah, well, the session's on critical thinking specifically, and I think I call it the what, the why, the how. And so I wanted to really talk about what critical thinking is. It's, some people think it's very simple, some people think it's hard. So I sort of explain the type of thinking that goes behind critical thinking. Sort of break it down and sort of help people understand the how that works, and then sort of talking about what sort of things that we can do to bring it into ourselves as a person, because even in our everyday life we need to use critical thinking, and how can we sort of bring that to life a little bit more. But more importantly then is, how do we bring that into our organizations? It's great when you've got individuals who are very strong critical thinkers, but really what's important at this day and age is that your organization is critical thinking. And it's key for that to go with, we've got new technology coming very fast and we need to adapt very quickly. And that's where critical thinking is important, right? So it's one of those core functions, core skills that I think everyone in your organization needs currently. So I talk about that a little bit, and then I give a very simple example on how to do that. Like, there's many examples and systems and tools that we can use to do that, but I give a very simple example so people can take something back to their organizations and have a little bit of a play around with it straight away.
Excellent. That was a nice example. So I'm sure that the attendees will find your experience invaluable.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, sure. Moving ahead, so could you highlight some of the key challenges or trends that you have observed in critical thinking?
Now, I think the easiest one that comes to mind is problem solving. Critical thinking is the solution to problem solving, or to problems that we have in our organizations. We have problems all the time, right? And it's very easy for us to use that quick automatic sort of thinking to move into problem solving. So I try to bring that to life as well through the presentation. And really, it's one of those things that I like to talk about is not problem solving, but problem learning. And it's really not even problem learning. They're just all opportunities for us to learn more about our product, our process, our people, our teams. and then create that learning organization that if you have that, or those organizations that are continually learning, then it's not a problem, right? These are all opportunities. But problem solving is one of the key areas where flip straight into solution mode, and we try to fix things straight away. And whether you're the person who's at the coalface, who's gone straight into solution mode, or you're the leader, the manager who goes and sees that and moves into that helper mode rather than a leader as a coach, so that's a valuable thing. If you can have a leader as a coach and not, I guess, micromanaging that person on the coalface, and this is how I would fix it. You get that engagement if you can really, then slip into that coaching mode, right? So problem solving is one area, but I think even as critical as where we execute our strategy, right? So many really important decisions in our industry are made with binary decisions. Should we do this solution or should we not? When really sometimes you need to, and this is where critical thinking is great. What lens am I using? Do I need to zoom out or do I need to zoom in? And if I've zoomed in, do I need to take a second to zoom back and go, hang on a minute, I need to have a look at the horizon. What really is important to me right now? Because, the key to executing good strategy is not doing everything all of the time, is doing the thing that you need to work on now. But then also, again, switching into that critical thinking mode is what are the solutions? What are the ways of doing things? Should I be doing the same thing I've been doing all of the time, or is there something new that I'm not seeing? Right? And that connects back into why it's so important for our organizations, because one person critical thinking, you need the whole organization critical thinking. And that way, you just can move forward in leaps and bounds, those step changes.
That sounds fantastic. So if we consider the diverse audience that is attending the conference, what do you think, what can participant expect to take away from the conference or from a session?
I think some very practical tools that they can use for themselves. Even just pausing for a minute is critical thinking. Pausing for a minute, saying, "Am I doing the right thing? Are there other ways to do things?" And I sort of would bring some very simple, tools like that to life that people can use for themselves, or people can use it for their teams as well. Thinking about, how do I build it in an organization? I sort of talk about a very simple model for people to work on there. Because it's like it's really a habit that you need to form critical thinking. It's not, we're all smart, we've got great brains, we're lucky to be, to have that sort of complexity in our thought. But you really need to, practice these habits to really build it into our ways of working. Because there's an Einstein quote that says, you can't use the same type of thinking to solve the problems that created them. Right. So I think that's really the key to it is what we can do as a person and what we can do as a team. So hopefully there are some things that they can take away. Plus, I think the simple example that I dropped at the end, that they can take back and use and practice again, because unless they practice it, it's not going to become part of their toolkit. And you really want critical thinking to be, in your toolkit.
Wonderful. So lastly, I want to ask you that what are you personally looking at the conference, like your personal views for the conference, and what are you thinking you can take the most out of it?
Look, I've always enjoyed the Singapore conference. Unfortunately, this year I'm actually going to be presenting virtually. So I think that'll be something of interest to me. I do a lot of virtual presentations in my current job, so it's not new. But doing it to the Singapore conference is, so I think that'll be exciting, and reconnecting with some colleagues and friends who I haven't connected to probably since pre-COVID. So I think that would be great. Looking forward to that.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Benjamin, for joining us today. And we hope that you have a wonderful session at the conference. Best of luck for that.
Perfect. Thank you very much for the invitation today. And I look forward to seeing you there too.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.